All right, so I am here to explain what is, I think, the most important part of any draft system, and that is our scoring system. We've spent a lot of time over the last, say, decade or so just trying to make sure that we had a scoring system that was the most even. Rugby union is said to be a game for all shapes and sizes, so we wanted to really make sure that when you're playing, you're not just looking at drafting a bunch of outside backs and kickers like they do in so many drafting platforms for rugby union. Instead, we want props, locks, scrum halves, everyone to be valued. So we think we've done a pretty good job at that. Looking at the URC stats from 2024-25 season, for instance, if you ran an eight-man league, the bottom picked starter that you would pick across all positions, the lowest average would be a 36 for, I think it's a scrum half or a fly half, and the top was 42 points for a back rower. So that's saying that there's only 6 points between the bottom ranked positions across the board from 1 to 15. So realistically, if you prioritize your outside backs and you forget about your locks, or you prioritize your hookers and you forget about your scrum halves, you're going to suffer just as much as if you don't do it the other way around. So it means that the game's so much more open and everyone's actually pushing for the same, I guess, push for the entire squad of 23 with strong players. So getting into the actual scoring system, though, you get a point for taking the field. You get another point for taking the field for 61 minutes. So if you're playing long minutes. For tries and conversions, we give you 10 points for tries, although we do bump that up to 15 for props, hookers, and locks. Try assists worth 6 points. Conversions, penalty goals, drop goals are plus or minus what they're worth in the game. So +2 or -2 for kicking your conversion or missing it, and +3 or -3 for kicking or missing your penalty or your drop goal. Attacking phases, you get 1 point for a carry. You get 1 point if that is a dominant carry as well. And then you also get 1 point per 10 meters that you make. Now, again, one of the variations that we have to try and value other positions is we know that the props are taking so many of those tight carries. So they get 2 points for a carry because they're done in such hard positions. And they get 1 point for every 5 meters rather than 10. And that goes for the props, hookers, and the locks for the meters where they're taking those tight carries in. It's only the props that get the double points for carries. Line breaks, you get 5 points. Line breaks assist, you get 4 points. Tackle bust, 3 points. Offloads, 4 points. And passing, you get 1 point for every 10 passes, unless you're a playmaker. So a 9 or a 10, scrum half, fly half, they get 1 point for every 5 passes because it's a key part of their game that we wanted to value a little bit higher. In defense, again, it's maybe a little bit more simple. So you get 1 point for a tackle. Unless you're a prop, you get 2. Again, they're making the hard tackles or the hardest tackles, and we wanted to increase their value. If it's a dominant tackle, you'll gain an extra point as well. If it's a try-saving tackle, you'll gain 4 points. So a try-saving tackle will be worth a total of 5 points. 1 for the tackle and then 4 for the actual try-saving component of that as well. And then if you pilfer and pick a turnover as well, you're going to get 4 points. In rucks, I think is one of the areas that we're the first to introduce. Now, if you look across the stats on who hits the most rucks, primarily locks and props hit the most rucks. Hookers and back rowers also hit a lot of them as well. So I guess it's a real strength for the forwards that aren't maybe running so many meters out wide where there's a little bit more space. So again, it draws in the difference between the backs and the forwards. So you'll get half a point for every ruck that you hit, or 1 point for every ruck if you're a prop. So once again, the value that you have is not just tackles and runs. We're valuing your work rate across the park to hit rucks and secure ball for the team as well. Kicks, we're also, I think, the first to value kicks. So you kick from hand, it's worth 1 point, and then you'll get an extra point for every 100 meters. So if you're a 10 doing a lot of clearing kicks, or a fullback putting a lot of kicks through as well, you guys can get a couple of points for that as well. We did spend a lot of time looking at the value on how many meters should be worth a point, and we think that this is the right balance at 1 point per 100 meters. There's a bunch of errors that you can lose points for as well. So a bad pass will be -2 points. Handling errors, -2 points. Turnovers conceded are going to be -4 points. Missed tackles, -2 points. Penalties conceded, -4. A yellow card is -10 and a red is -20. So you really don't want your players doing that. And then set pieces, again, we're trying to make sure we value the work for the forwards here. So line out throws being successful to the team is 1 point for the person throwing in, whether it's a quick line out or a hooker throwing into the line out. If you lose it, it's -2 points, so a bigger penalty there. A line out take successfully as the jumper is 2 points, and stealing it from the other team is 4 points as well. So big points if you're a good defensive jumper. And then scrums. Scrums are the hardest thing to value. And again, I don't think anyone yet has tried to approach scrums until we've come into the game. So we're pretty proud of how we've managed to work a solution at the moment until we get better detailed stats. But you get it with these stats that are provided are only scrums for the entire team. So we've basically just looked at the minutes the player is playing and the total scrums that people are involved with for the game. So if your prop is on for 60 minutes out of 80 and there's 10 scrums, they're going to get points for 3/4 of the scrums because they're on the park for 3/4 of the game. Similarly, if they lose scrums, it's going to be looked at a share of points on the park versus scrums in the actual total match. So there's no way to account it directly to a player, but we think it's a really important part of the game that people should be rewarded for or suffer for if their front row can't scrum, for instance. So the type 5 are the only players that we've decided to value for scrums because we think that they're the ones that are most involved with the actual outcome. So you'll get 1 point for a scrum won, and you'll get -2 points for a scrum loss as well. That's it, guys. So it's take the field, attacking, defending, rucking, kicking, errors, and set pieces. That's all done automatically, constantly through the website, and then your players will get their total points at the end of the game. The total points go together to score your entire team's total points, and then that's what will be used to calculate your wins and losses versus the other managers. The only other thing worth noting for scoring is if your player does not take the field and you have a bench player that actually does play, then their score will be taken. So they will only automatically sub in the substitute player from your bench if there is no minutes played whatsoever from your starter. If they take the field and get knocked out in 1 minute, too bad, so sad. That's the roll of the dice. But yeah, I think we've done that really to try and protect the game from being ruined by someone being pulled late from the game more than anything. So happy drafting. If you want to know more, you can see all the information on the how-to page, how to play on draftrugby.com. You can find that down in the bottom footer as well. Thank you.